Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. Good morning to you, good morning to you, good morning to you. Happy Tuesday morning, and it is such a pleasure to have you join me today on Walking Through Glass, the podcast, bringing you your dose of vitamin Dr. D, medicine for your mindset. So, we're going to get right into it today. We are going to get right into it today because we're going to talk about dreams. I know as many of you got up this morning, you woke up this morning and you thought about how I seize the day. You've taken a look at your routines. You've taken a look at all the things that you've wanted to do, that you've dreamed about, and then also about those things that don't seem like they're ever going to come to fruition. So I want to ask you today, are your dreams a priority? What is your dream? Will you achieve your dream in your lifetime? That is something to think about. And when you think about it, here's the key to that. When you really begin to think about your dream. And this hit me like a ton of bricks yesterday. I was driving and having a conversation with one of my amazing mentors and just motivators, inspirers, and connectors. And if you don't already have somebody like that, you want to get that person in your life. If you don't have somebody in your life who's a motivator, who's going to push you, who's going to, really help you grow, not tell you what you want to hear, but tell you what you need to hear. You need to get that person in your life. So yesterday, as I was on the road and I've been just meandering and pondering over a lot of things because there's great shifts. Good morning. It's so good to see you again. Thank you for joining us. And I just sat there to myself and I had an aha moment. And I had two major critical aha moments yesterday. So the first one was when I was thinking about my son. My son is 17. He's a graduating senior this year. He's going to go to college. He is going to play college football. He is going to play in the NFL. And he is going to live and achieve his dreams. Notice I begin to say that, already receiving and understanding that that is what's going to happen. And as I've been on this intentional, relentless pursuit of speaking life, intentional pursuit about speaking life, not only into his dreams, it has helped me really begin to find the areas and the opportunities when I have not been walking and believing 100% in mine. So I was sharing with someone, because anyone that follows me on social media, and you can definitely follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and across all media platforms at Dr. Dina Speaks, DrDeennASPAKS. And I show and share what's the light of my life, and that's my son, Xavier. And not only is he one of my greatest dreams, he's one of my greatest dreams fulfilled. And so he's been in the midst and in the twist of a few things, but I wanted to make sure that I always speak life, because at times when I couldn't do it for myself, I always could do it for him. So not only does he serve as this beacon and as this individual that helps me see the bigger, the greatest, the aha picture, it's actually helped me begin to walk more in my truth every single day. So here's the thing, here's the situation, is that Someone was sharing, I was sharing with him what Xavier wants to do. They said, what does he want to do? I said, what does he love? I said, football. They said, where does he want to go to school? I said, he wants to play football. Now, being his mom, and you would understand this, and if this is you, please let me know in the chat if you do this too. I said, but what do you want to learn? He said, Mom, I want to play football. I said, but what do you want to learn? And he says, Mom, I don't know, but I want to play football. I'm going to play football. I said, okay. I said, all right, football is a business. Okay, it's not just a sport. It is a business. So you can do a plethora of things in the realm of football. Do you want to look and study, digital marketing and media? He loves to cook. He's an amazing chef. I said, would you like to go to culinary arts? Because once you don't play, or if you choose not to play, then you could actually become maybe a celebrity chef to football players. He's a great thinker. I said, well, you know what? You could be a psychologist, and your niche market could actually be, to football players and athletes to really help them master these mindsets that they need. So I'm running down this list, and he's like, oh, okay. He said, I'm going to play football. There's this relentlessness about his verbiage and his words. And as I began to just really listen to him, and as I daily work on my personal growth and my growth mindset and my development daily, there's something clicked that my mentor, Paul Martinelli, always shares with us. It's about a relentless pursuit of your dream. A relentless pursuit of your dream, which means that there's no plan B. There's no plan B. There's a relentless pursuit of your dream. And so as I just began to sit and marinate on that and process that in relation to Xavier, I thought, wow. Okay, so now let's put the systems in place to get there. Let's talk about what needs to be done, because you can have a relentless pursuit, but you also have to have processes and procedures and steps to get there. You can't just sit at home and hope that it's going to happen. So one of the first things we have to begin to look at is that these last couple of years have not always been the most ideal, especially academically for my son. And so we're now going in to revamp and rewrite. So people ask him, have you got offers yet? And when I look at him and I see him, I know that a little bit of inside of him kind of cringes a little bit, because the very first thing they ask him about is his grades. He has the talent. He has the build. He has the desire. But as a high school student who has struggled in a couple of areas these last couple of years, his academic performance did not show up to what he can actually do. So we are in recovery mode. And it wasn't until I put on my mama bear shield to help him in his pursuit of his dream that I began to walk bigger and bolder in my very own dream as well. So I'll get to that in a second. And so as Xavier, as he says that, I began to see and to feel the energy around him. And I said, you know what? Not on my watch. So when we talk about supporting in our kids, believing in our kids, not for what we want them to have, but for what they do, and teaching them to cultivate a growth mindset and a relentless pursuit of their dreams, that means that when we step in the ring with them, we're putting on the gloves with them and for them and not against them. Okay? With them, for them, and not against them, because it is their dreams. And so when we ask them, what is your dream? And as our children, we know we would do anything and everything as parents to make sure that they achieve it in their lifetime, oftentimes sacrificing ourselves. So here's where the pivot has become and the shift. The first was the pivot to look around to see, okay, what do I need to do to begin to support him in this relentless pursuit? And you know what the very first thing was? The very first thing was shifting my mindset about my belief in the desire, and my belief in the understanding, and my belief in the knowing that he could achieve his dream. I needed to shift the way that I thought because I needed to step in as an armor bearer, not just as his mother and be armor and be mama bear to protect him from other people. I had to first protect him against my own disbelief. Hot diggity darn. I said, wow, okay, let me get my mindset game up. Okay. And I said, this has been a journey. I'm telling you, this has been an amazing, phenomenal journey. And I am so thankful that you're even here with this on this dream and on this journey with me. So once I began to shift my mindset, I then began to be able to intentionally shift my verbiage, what came out of my mouth. Not only what came out of my mouth to him, but what to others. Because, and I don't know if this is you. If this is you, let me know. If this is you, you'll go somewhere and someone, especially if they're asking about your kids, because sometimes they're not bold enough to talk to you personally, but they'll ask you about your kids. And they'll say, oh, so what does little Rebecca want to do when she grows up? And you'll say to them, Rebecca, she wants to be a pilot. Oh, okay. So what's her backup plan? What else does she want to do? Because you see, when they saw Rebecca, they might have seen the color of her skin. They might have seen maybe the way that she wore her clothes. They might have seen whether or not that she might have had an external facial feature or disability. But the very first thing that they thought was that she couldn't. And when they say those things and they speak those things in your presence and in the presence of Rebecca, then guess what happens? You begin to doubt. And your beliefs about when you were growing up and all the times you told someone what your dream was, I mean your real dream, your big burning down in your pit of your soul dream was, when you told someone what that was. And what they decided to do when you told them about your big, bad, bold, bodacious, incredible dream, they told you why it was impossible. And when they told you why it was impossible, then what began to happen for you is that you began to believe it at a very young age when you didn't even have the wherewithal or the ability to refute their scripts. And so what happens as parents, and when we have children, we say it's in the name of protecting them, right? And if we're trying to protect them, when people say things about their dreams, their desires, their wishes, or even their skills and abilities, we jump in and we provide coverage for them. Why? Because we're operating off of an old script. And we were feeling that at a time when we needed the most, somebody didn't protect us, so we're going to protect our kids. But here's the first person you need to protect your children from. And yes, I'm going to say it. You need to protect your children from your own limited beliefs. And I can, and I will, and I did. You have to protect them from you. Because do you have a relentless belief? A relentless belief. So when people begin to share and say, oh, what does Xavier want to do? Because when you see him, you'll say, oh, yeah, he's a football player. I mean, like I said, if you follow me on any social media platform and you see, I wish I could post a picture of it. He's my baby pumpkin. Okay. Oh, sorry. According to management, I had to take off baby. I could just call him pumpkin now because he realizes that it's just not going to happen where I'm just going to let it go. So I took off baby and it's just pumpkin. But here's the other piece. Okay. I keep saying these are all these things that now, as I'm becoming more aware, more self-aware, and more conscious of what I think, what I say, what I do, and my whys, I've been able to begin to do some rewiring and some reprogramming. That's not only benefiting me, but it's also benefiting him. So my son's always been athletic since he came out of the womb. He's been athletic. And people used to say, oh, he's going to be a big basketball player because he was tall, you know. And then as he got older, oh, he's going to be a football player. And I would say, no, he's not. He's going to be a rocket scientist. Oh, he's going to be an engineer. And I would immediately jump in and help them understand what he was going to be. Again, why did I do that? Because I was operating off of the belief systems that when they saw my son, who's 6'2", almost 6'3", 255 pounds, and he's a defensive lineman, and he's a young African-American male, that what these people were believing about him was that all he could be was an athlete. And they weren't addressing his ability to think. right? Which is what we dealt with in these last 3 years with going to a new school. My son went to bit from being a pretty solid academic to just kind of struggling in some areas. Not that he didn't know the information, but he said to me one day, Mom, they don't even really believe that I'm even smart. They just, tell me about, the fact that I'm really good in football. I don't think they believe that I'm smart. And I realized that he didn't think. He believed it. And so we began this relentless pursuit of shifting his mindset about who he is. And I had him read, I actually paid him $100 to read As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And we talk about that. We talk about it. We talk about it. The power of your mind, power of your mindset, the power of really creating that vision and visualizing it and using positive affirmations, but positive affirmations with actions to back it up. And so we've been doing that. And I've been doing that with him. And you know what? As I've been doing that with him, guess what? Dog diggity, it's been rubbing off on me. So yesterday, as everything's been coming to fruition, a couple of things actually occurred. I went into co-working space Hera Hub, and where I work with them and I support them on ideating business development and being a business and communication guru for them. But I was talking to some people that I know, and everybody, again, that knows me, they ask about Xavier. And so they'll say, does he know what he want to do yet? I said, he wants to play football. And they said, okay, so what's his backup plan? I said, he's going to play football. I said, okay. He's like, well, then after college, he could probably play in college. So what does he want to do for a career? I said, football. Everything that he wants, his relentless pursuit is about football. Doesn't mean he's going to play for the rest of his life, but I knew that he would be connected to football. Without a shadow of a doubt, I became 100% certain yesterday. I'm getting emotional, 100% certain that he is going to play NFL football and have a career and a life centered around football. What the end result looks like, I don't need to know that. I just know it's football. So as this woman sat there and she said, well, it's always good for kids. And I shut her down so quick. I said, he'll be playing football. I said, here's what you need to understand. That is his plan B. And you know what? So many times we've been operating with our dreams as our plan B instead of our relentless pursuit. We have been treating our dreams like it's been a plan B, as opposed to a relentless pursuit of a primary goal. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. Because you see, I became the best leader, the best visionary, the best of who I am when I became Xavier's mom. Because the rewriting of these scripts, the shifting of these mindsets but really began to develop and take root when I knew that I had to be what he needed so that he can be what he needed to become. And I was the catalyst and the conduit for that. So I had to begin to shift the way that I thought about who I was, because I needed to be able to defend him. And I did not want to give him those scripts that my parents gave me. I did not want to put those things in his mind that he couldn't, or that he needed to have another backup, or that he needed to do something else. I needed him to really begin to know that he is called to do something. And once he figures out what he's called to do, and as he figures out what he's called to do, that he then needs to put a system in place to achieve it. And then he could do it. So as I was sitting there going, wow, that's so huge. So let me take a look at myself. Let me ask myself some questions. Let me ask you, as you're listening to this, have you made your dreams a priority? What is your dream? If you will be so bold, share your dream in the chat box. What is it? What is it? Will you achieve it in your lifetime? What is it? I'll share with you what my big bold dream is. My big bold dream is to have my very own syndicated talk show, complete with theme music, stage lights, and sounds, so that I can speak life, freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and to those I'm called to serve. Because I have a mission, I have a purpose, I have a calling, and my calling is to inspire, empower, and transform lives. How I do it may shift and change. It might be with a book. It might be through my voice. It might be working with a coaching client. It might be presenting at a conference. It might be through my child. And so as I began to take inventory of my very own dreams, I came to some realizations that I had not been in a relentless pursuit. I had been treating my dreams as a plan B. Therefore, with it being as a plan B, it was easy for me to shift it to lower on my priority list. And let me give you an example of where it just hit home to me. As I've been doing some additional media appearances and been asked to speak and commit to some very specific times in the area of speaking and sharing. And you know what? It started actually with this podcast going live. And I don't remember who it asked because they don't let us save what's in the chat. But someone had asked, and if this is you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You said, when will you be on again? When will you be on again? And when you said it, I had a clenching in my gut. I was like, ooh, when? I've been playing around with times. And I initially felt some kind of way about committing to a specific time, because it wasn't that I didn't want to, because I love this. You know what it was about? It was about me and my inability to commit to myself and to my dream, because the very first thought was that, well, if I commit to being on air every morning between 7:50 and 8:30, then guess what happens? I then won't be able to be there for somebody else. And what if somebody else needs me? What if somebody else needs me to show up for something else? What if somebody else? And here's where it just really hit home. Okay. Again, one of my clients, she asked me to come in and do what they call guru hours. And in those guru hours, you're there to be the inspiration, be the resource for whatever that person in the community needs. And I told her, oh my gosh, every time somebody asked me to commit to the same date, the same time, repeatedly, I clench in my stomach. And then I thought, for over 20 years, I committed to a job. I showed up for work at 7 o'clock and often left well after 5 or 6 in the evening. And I thought, okay, I was able to commit to a job, commit to a program, but every time I think about committing to myself, there seems to be a challenge. And so I realized that I need to put my dreams to a test. You see, when whomever popped in, and if that's you again, I'm going to say thank you. And you said, when would you be on again? This is what I needed. This was my help. This was last week on Wednesday or Thursday. Because at first I was just going to do it one day on Wednesdays. Why? Because I thought, my goodness, if I commit to 5 days a week, then my schedule is locked in and locked down. Well, remember I told you what my dream is. My dream is to have a syndicated talk show where I can inspire, empower, and transform lives. And you know what God said to me? There you go. You got it. You're beta testing Podbean Live. You have your show. You're there. You're doing it. Now do it. Be obedient with the small things. Be obedient, whether no one shows up on air or not. Whether there's no one in that live, whether your followers grow, Be obedient and watch me work. Have a relentless pursuit of your dream. Have a relentless pursuit of all the things that you honestly know and love that's aligned to your dream. And I thought, wow, wow, wow. So immediately what I did, I took a look at my calendar. And if I didn't already have a commitment on it, I let it go. If not, I blocked the time. And I said, okay, Monday's usually my day. Mondays are for me. But I can commit to Tuesday through Friday. Whether it's I have to push it earlier because I have to drive or be somewhere. Because you can't go live. You can't go live on the road. You have to actually be with your desktop or your laptop. And I said, but I can commit to posting. If it's not live, then I'm going to post by that certain time. So as I began to really realize that if I made my dreams a priority, then you know what? Others who are called to support and serve can be attracted and to show up. And that's where the miracle takes place. That's where the action takes place. So interesting enough, as I was standing there having this conversation with this woman, her name is Donna, actually, about my son's football dreams, I get a call from the Ohio State, right? And I had to put my belief in my son's dream to the test. And they said, hi, I'm calling. I'm a student from Ohio State. I want to call, check on you. Because at first I had a flutter and I thought, is Ohio State really calling my son? I know he wants to go there and play there because it's this big school. And I thought, but I knew academically we're still working in that space. But again, here's where that 100% certainty, that relentless pursuit came into play, is that I said, yes, actually you called his mom and here's his phone number. He's at football practice. He does want to go to Ohio State. He would love to go to your school and he would love to play football at your school. And she goes, okay, so can we talk about opportunities? And I said, absolutely. Here's his number. Because see, the old me would have been like, oh, well, he doesn't have the grades. He's not going to get in. And then here's what I know. Here's what I understand. Is that all God needs to perform a miracle is a problem and obedience. Obedience that all the people who are involved in the situation must show up. And so as I began to put my dreams to the test and speaking life, okay, assuredness and being obedient, it allows me to support him and those I'm called to serve, to put their dreams to the test. So Donna's listening to me have this conversation, and I gave him Xavier's schedule, said, give him a call on Sunday, because who's to know that one call is going to be the catalyst to really help him really ignite in other areas and that belief system where he begins to stand in the face of those naysayers, to combat disbelief, to rewire his mindset. For all the times, definitely not me, when others told him he couldn't and he wouldn't and he shouldn't. And having someone from the Ohio State, another student, call and say, but you can, you will, okay? And I will see you later. And as I stood there, I realized that I had something to do. I had to begin to show up. I had to begin to put my dreams to the test and to show up for me. And not allow my dreams to be my plan B, but to have my dreams as a relentless pursuit of 100% certainty. And to identify those things that were needed. So my mentor, John Maxwell, wrote a book. It's called Put Your Dreams to the Test. And I want to share a little bit of that with you. Because one of the very first things we have to understand is that a dream is an inspiring picture of the future that energizes your mind, your will, and your emotions. That's what a dream is. What is your dream? What is your dream? Share it. I love for you to put your dream and post it. Post your dream. Begin to start telling people what that dream is, because watch, the actions will follow. And now I'll ask you this. For those of you that are listening that are reluctant, whether you're listening to this live or you're listening to this on the replay, what is stopping you from realizing your dream? What is it? What's stopping you? Is it fear? Is it finances? Is it fortitude? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it FOMO, fear of missing out? So you're running all over everywhere else and not really manifesting your dream? What is it? Because remember, the dream is an inspiring picture of the future that energizes your mind, your will, and your emotions. So if you can do this with me right now, is to close your eyes if it's safe and visualize your dream, that seed, and just let your mind begin to see it, to see what you're wearing, to see what you can hear, what the sounds are like. What are the other people doing? What's the location? What are they saying? If you're eating, what are you eating? What are you feeling? What are you touching? Is it the silk of the gown? Is it the steel of the mic? What is your dream? Begin to visualize it every single day. And when you visualize your dream every single day, guess what? You put universal law into practice. You put faith into practice. I'm a woman of faith, but I'll tell you what. You know what faith is? That is an aspect of universal law. Because that faith is that belief in the things that you cannot see. So here's the thing. Now you have this dream. And let me tell you, here is some common reasons. This is 5 reasons for not identifying your dreams. So when I ask you that question, if in the pit of your gut it clenches and you're like, I'm not saying anything, or I don't know what my dream is, or I don't have a dream, and you're going through all of that, here's 5 common reasons. This is old script. These are old narratives that you got to remove. You have to shift away from those old narratives. Disappointment. Somewhere in your life, you've been disappointed. You've either shared your dream with someone and they told you that it was stupid. Why would you do that? You can't do that. Somebody's already done it. And they went through this whole piece, or they said they were going to support you and they didn't. They did not show up. Discouragement, settling. I had a woman and I did a vision board, corporate vision board party for Nissan North America last year. I think it was October, November. Actually, no, my gosh, we're still in 2019. It was earlier this year. My bad. And we did it, and it was really interesting. And this woman said, I have a hard time making a vision board because I feel like I have everything that I need and I should just be happy with what I have. I'm not hungry. I have a job. I have a husband. I have a family. I have a house. I should just be happy. And as she was speaking to me, I could feel with everything of my being that she was lying to herself. She learned to settle. She had made a decision to settle because while she was settling, you know what? She then did not have to face her fears. She can convince herself and say, I'm already happy. Isn't my dream to be happy? Well, I'm happy. But then she was speaking and talking to me about in the company why she wasn't getting promoted, why she wasn't getting opportunities. And there's disappointment in her voice because you know what? She learned to settle. She did not want to speak her dream. And she'd been there 20 plus years. She had been conditioned. And she was afraid to push past that. And her belief systems had been so ingrained with that, be happy. Do you know why I was removed from my last job besides some intensive attacks? Is because they told me, you should be happy. You have a position, you have power, you have a paycheck. You're already the school principal. What else do you want? Be happy. I said, well, I want to grow. There's lives I want to impact. I've done these particular things. And because I didn't want to settle, and that wasn't the dream I had for myself, life became very difficult, extremely difficult. And I began to spiral. So some of the situation was my own fault as I began to react instead of respond. But here's what I know. Here's what I know. And that obstacle was the opportunity for me to manifest my dream and walk into an up-level version of my calling. So begin to change the way and shift the way you see trials and tribulations, because that's what gives you the testimony and gives you the test of your dream, the test of the commitment, the test of the relentless pursuit. That's what it is. That's putting your dream to the test. That one that's hiding and buried inside of you, it's there. Whether you speak it or not, it's there. And you get certain signs and signals of it wanting to pop out. Okay? There's also sometimes a lack of confidence. I can't do it. Who told you that? If you can dream it and you can see it and you believe it and you're called to do it, you can make it happen. You can. And then sometimes there's a lack of imagination. And here's where that support system, those armor bearers, and even someone like me comes into play. And I thought about doing this. If you're on and you're live, if this would be of something of interest to you, just please pop that in there. I would like to do what I call laser coaching live. Well, I'll literally go on air and I'll be live for about 30, 45 minutes. And you can come on and you can get support, ideation, and a thought partner to help you begin to see and visualize your dream. If you're on the air live, and I see some of you are, please, if this is the first time for you, say hi, tell me your name so I can begin to learn those names, okay? But if this was something that you would be interested in, having a thought partner, and we could come on and live and we can ideate and we can process that to really help you begin to think bigger and stretch and move past your limited beliefs, then please let me know. Pop that in there and say, yeah, I'm interested. And if you're new and you're on live, go ahead, definitely say hi. Tell me, I'd love to know that someone's on there with me. If you're listening to the replay when it shifts over onto the platform, then definitely leave it in the comments. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Music Play, and all the other places that Walking Through Glass shows up, let me know. I'm very interested in doing that. And I want to make sure that it's something that you see value in as well. And that's one thing that I'm great at. I'm phenomenal at. When people speak, I can see so much more, so much greater in them. So real quick, and I'm going to end today with 10 steps to conquer your dreams. But this is going to be a dream series this week. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to Walking Through Glass, the podcast, so you'll get notifications when I actually go live. And you'll know and be able to catch the series. And invite your friends, invite your family, invite your coworkers, because this week we're going to talk about dreams and putting your dreams to the test and manifesting your dreams and making it happen. I want to give you actionable items. So I'm going to conclude with this, and then let's see, what your next step is. And I want to know if you put these things in place, okay? So how do you begin to make your dreams a priority? You must take action. You must have a relentless belief and 100% certainty, okay? You have to identify what that dream is. You have to make the unconscious conscious. You have to speak it. You have to speak it. And now here's, this is a later lesson, but I'm going to just go ahead and throw this out there for you. You're called to do something, not just anything. And although I have a relentless pursuit of my dream and a belief in my dream, there's certain things that might seem a little bit outside of the box. Not because it's impossible, because I'm not called to do that. Okay. So there's a difference in thinking in that. So I want to just kind of put that disclaimer out there when we talk about your dream. Because your dream, you have to have that relentless pursuit, and you have to have that 100% certainty, and you have to be committed and take the action necessary to achieve it. Okay. Especially if you want to achieve it in your lifetime. So here's 10 steps to conquer your dreams. Okay. And tomorrow we'll probably talk about the different types of dreams. All right. So definitely tune in tomorrow. We're going to talk about the different types of dreams, but here today are those 10 steps. All right. If you're able, then you might want to grab a pen and pencil, listen to this on the replay, and we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and get into it. 10 steps to conquer your dreams. The first one is ownership. You must own it. You must state it. You must make the unconscious conscious, and own it. This is my dream. It's mine, not somebody else's, not what someone else told me I should do, not what someone else makes me want to do. This is mine. Okay. You have to have clarity in that. You have to be very, very clear. What does that look like? How do I visualize it? Even down to the point of what am I wearing? What are people saying? What are the reviews? How many followers I have? Whatever that is, clarity. Okay. You have to see it in your mind so crisp and crystal clear. When I see myself doing my TED Talk again, those of you who've been following me, you know that I'm working on a TED Talk that says, who the fuck is they? They is you. Okay. And I see myself, I know what I'm wearing. I have my red duster on, my flashy red pumps that are on. My hair is pent up. I have a gorgeous smile. My face is beat to the max. Okay. And I'm standing in the middle of that red circle, giving my TED Talk. And as I look out upon the audience, every seat is filled. And it's like a stadium, a theater stadium seating. And I look above and there's a balcony seating. And as I begin to point out that they is you, it's your own inner bully and limited beliefs, I see the heads nodding, those people in agreement, knowing that I am not by myself. I'm not in it by myself. So I see that. That's realistic. I am a speaker. I'm a teacher. I am a coach. I'm a neuro-linguistic practitioner. I understand the power of your mind to transform your situations. So it's real for me, because the third thing you need is reality. And if you can't hear by the sound of my voice, there is passion in abundance. So you have ownership, clarity, reality, passion. And now you create the pathway, but the pathway comes from you speaking it and now aligning with a clear intentionality, your steps, your relationships, your partnerships, what you're listening to, what you're reading, okay, what you're speaking. Because then the people who are called to support and serve you will show up. Are you willing to pay the cost? Whether it's financial or opportunity. Because sometimes the opportunity cost, because see, you can have sweat equity when you don't have the financial means. Are you willing to pay that cost? Because it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something. Do you have the tenacity to keep going, the stick with itness, the grit, to keep pushing, to keep pursuing, that 100% certainty, that relentlessness that it's going to happen? And when you get knocked up, you get back up. You get knocked down, you get back up. You get knocked down, you get back up. And every time you get up, you come back bigger, stronger, bolder, more thoughtful, and more strategic than the time before that. Fulfillment. Does it bring you joy? Does it bring you joy? Or are you just looking at it from a tangible, physical, financial return? Does it? And so you have to ask yourself this. When you're talking about 10 steps to conquering your dreams, are you going to be fulfilled? Because if you're pursuing this, but you're going to always have that empty hole there, guess what? It's never going to be enough. And then you have to ask yourself, is that really your dream? Do you have clarity? But we're going to talk about that later on. So again, this week, it's all about dreams. It's all about dreams. Okay. Significance. How is it going to add value? Where's the legacy in it? Where's the legacy? So the 10 steps to conquer your dreams: ownership, clarity, reality, passion, pathway, people, cost, tenacity, fulfillment, significance. And today, you need to make a choice. Are your dreams a priority? If so, what is it? Write it down. Write it in your planner. Write it on a sticky note. Write it, share it. Go tell somebody. If you're really bold, if you're ready for this, go tell somebody your real dream. And if you've already been telling people, go tell and find 10 strangers to tell your dream. Because you never know if that person has the answer, if that person plays a part in your miracle. So start talking about it, saying about it, sharing it, showing it. If it's the promotion on your job, talk about the role that you want. This is not just for entrepreneurs. This is for everybody. If you have a dream for your children and what you want to see them and being able to provide, my dream is to take my whole family on a European cruise. And here's the sense of, so these dreams, they're different. So we're going to talk more about that the rest of the week that's here. So I hope that you join me. I ask that you join me. I ask that you actually share with someone else who could use this information. And the last time I had the question of, when is the next time you're going to be on? Well, guess what? Tomorrow. I will be on tomorrow. Same time, starting at about 7:50 a.m. and going to about 8:30, 8:40, 8:50. But before I end, I want to ask, is there any questions? This is live, which is the amazing piece and amazing platform, is that I can actually take questions. So now I open up the platform for questions. If you have any questions or you have any roadblocks that you want me to speak to or talk to before we check out, go ahead and put that in there. Is there anything that you have that you want to talk about, or you're interested in maybe coming on and doing a live laser coaching session to help you work through your roadblocks, work through any sort of limited beliefs and scripting that, or even trying to get to the bottom, what the heck is my dream? Because sometimes we need that. It's been buried so long. It's been so deeply covered up. It's like the needle in the haystack. But you know what I'm going to tell you? You're the princess or the prince, and your dream is that pea. And if you lay on that feather mattress with clarity, consciousness, and consistently, guess what? You're going to feel that pea, and that pea is your dream. It is the seed. It is the soul. If you are walking around feeling like there's something else, there's something missing, I invite you to spend some quiet time with yourself. I invite you to stop being afraid. Stop being afraid to speak it, to live it. Embrace fear differently. Embrace it as excitement, because fear exists. It's real. I'm not going to lie and tell you that it's not. Fear is real. Okay? But guess what you can do? You can own it, because fear doesn't get a vote when it comes to your dreams. But guess what it can do? It could be a catalyst for you putting everything in alignment and helping in your relentless pursuit. in your 100% certainty. Because when fear comes at you and a situation comes at you, when you're in 100% relentless mode, guess what? You see fear, it's like, okay, I got you, fear, but I'm going to raise you some intentionality. I'm going to raise you some obedience. And I'm going to do it anyway. This is the season. It's a season of shift. It's October 1st. And it's October 1st, the beginning of the fourth quarter for those of you in business and finance. There's nothing, let's end strong. Let's finish the year strong. Let's finish the year focusing on our dreams. Let's finish working on all those things that are critical for our greater tomorrow. Let's be passionate about our pursuit, and let's be persistent about our dreams. So when I got home last night and I looked at my son, I looked at him with some renewed eyes. And all I could think about is how blessed I am to be his mom. And how honored I am to see him the way he sees him. And to be a partner in his relentless pursuit and his 100% certainty about his dreams is probably one of the greatest gifts and the greatest blessings I've received. So, if there are no questions and this spoke to you today, I invite you to continue the journey, as this week we're going to keep talking about dreams and talking about really what those opportunity costs, and now how do we begin to manifest them, put them into place, take action on them. So I invite you to join me, same time, same place, tomorrow. Between 7:50 and 8:45, we'll be live on Get Real with Dr. Dina, who's bringing you your dose of vitamin Dr. D, which is medicine for your mindset. So I end with this thought. You have the power and the authority to transform your situation and manifest your dreams. So get clear, be confident, and stay consistent. And when you do that, you will achieve your dream in this lifetime. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you next time on Walking Through Glass, the podcast with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown.